All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and do a rooting guide post-mortem, but honestly, there's not much to say except very little went the way the Seahawks wanted, and a whole heck of a lot went the way the Seahawks didn't want it to go. It was a bad week for the Seahawks, and it went beyond just the fact that they got smacked around in their game. There were some things that could have happened that maybe could have mitigated or cushioned the disaster that was Sunday Night Football a little bit, and those things did not happen. So I'm going to go ahead and piece through it, and then probably a little bit later, we're going to do a video where we take a look at the new state of the playoff machine. But nothing's really that good. You can't be that excited about any of this. And it all started Thursday night, last Thursday night's game. I mean, the best I can say is that the Rams didn't look good either, right? Like the Rams did not look good. That was a very ugly game. If you're looking at that game as a Seahawks fan, even after Sunday night, I think you have to say, wait a minute, we should still be able to beat this team if we play to our level of our potential, right? This is not a Rams team that is anything we should be terrified of. This is a limited team that has problems. And this is not something we should be terrified of dealing with in week 18. We just have to get to week 18 to and have it still matter. Like we can't get there and already be eliminated, but we still didn't get the result we needed, and it's basically unavoidable now. It's virtually impossible for the week 18 game to be irrelevant because the Seahawks are already good, right? Like that game is going to either matter, it's going to be the whole ball game for the Seahawks, or the Seahawks are already going to be eliminated. Like there's no way that game becomes window dressing after what has happened the last 2 weeks with the Rams, finding some very obnoxious ways to get to 8-6. So we're dealing with that. And then you get to Sunday where, oh, my bad. Sunday, nothing was as bad as that other than our own game, but we still didn't get a lot. I mean, Chiefs Browns, that doesn't really mean a ton at this point. We didn't play either team. The Rams, the Rams didn't play either team, right? The Niners played the Chiefs, and we're not really thinking about the Niners anymore, so there's really not a lot to say there. Bengals Titans, not really anything going on there as a Seahawks fan either. I can't think of any angle where the Bengals beating the Titans matters at all. We got played with a lot in this Commander Saints game. This would have been a nice backdoor, and the backdoor is closed pretty much now. The Commanders beat the Saints. Saints get it to the last play of the game. Saints score what could have been a game-tying touchdown. They go for two, which was correct. But then they call a terrible sprint out, play call, mess, disaster, whatever. And the Commanders, they get to 9 wins, and we got 3 games left. Their remaining schedule is pretty darn weak. Now, they're not a very good team, so they could get upset, but it is becoming exceedingly unlikely that you're going to be able to sneak in through the wild card. So if you're Seattle right now, the mentality needs to be win the division or bust. Either you win the division or you're out. Washington just banked too many wins early in the season, and I think they're going to go ahead and get through here. They're one more win, they're at 10 wins, and the tiebreakers are such that it's going to be really hard to unseat them from that. So that one hurt. That one would have been nice. Would have been a nice little surprise after the disappointment of Thursday Night Football. Didn't happen. Ravens Giants. The Giants' effect on the Seahawks' strength of schedule is not great. We don't like the fact that they're this bad. Not that I was hoping for the Giants to win this game. That was a futile effort. There was no point in wasting our time hoping for the Giants to win this game. But if you want to be clinical about it, we could have used a little bit of a happy accident. And there is a situation where strength of schedule tiebreaker comes into play here. Cowboys Panthers. I guess some people have pointed out that since the Cardinals play the Panthers, we wanted the Panthers to um, lose to weaken the Cardinals' strength of schedule. But for me personally, like the Cardinals' path to winning the division over the Seahawks is really thin. So I'm not even really thinking about that. Like I know the Cardinals won, and we'll get to their game in a second. To me, it is clearly a two-team race in the West. And if the Cardinals can somehow sneak up and snatch it here at the end here, good for them. But that's pretty low on my priority list right now. I don't think there's much value there. Seahawks didn't play either of these teams, so there's not a lot going on that I can speak to. Jets, Jaguars, I mean, we play the Jets, so it helps the strength of schedule, but so the other teams in the division also play the Jets, or will play the Jets, or have played the Jets, whatever. So it's not really boosting us compared to the other divisional teams for the Jets to win a game. But I guess that's good. I guess that's something. Dolphins, Texans. We played the Dolphins, so I guess strength of schedule would have wanted us for the Dolphins to would have wanted the Dolphins to win a game, but we're pretty thin there, right? Because again, every other team in the division played or plays the Dolphins. So you're not helping in the wild card race. Or excuse me, the divisional race. You would be helping in the wild card race, but that's already pretty dead. Colts Broncos. I'm not kidding. This may have been the best thing that happened for the Seahawks. This may have been the best result for the Seahawks. The Broncos, who we played, that no other team in the division played, continues to win, so it's helping our strength of schedule. Like, this may have been the best result for the Seahawks this week. That is how rough this week was for us. We got nothing really going our way, and Denver manages to sneak up at the last second and steal a game that they looked pretty dead in the water on. Like, I was watching this game quite a bit in the, I believe, was this an early, I can't even remember. I think it was no, it was a late window game. And Denver looked dead in the water, and then the fourth quarter comes up, and you're like, okay, that's good. But if that's the best you've got for a whole week of football, a slight boost to your strength of schedule that the other teams in the division don't have, you're not getting things to go your way. Bills, Lions, again, I don't think there was much incentive to go one way or the other. On this one, I will say, though, not, or apropos of nothing, Lions, I feel really bad for that fan base. This is so obviously meant to be Detroit's year to win the Super Bowl, and it's becoming very clear it's not going to happen because of all these injuries to their defense, and now Montgomery. Like, you got to feel for them because this is obviously, obviously the year for the Detroit Lions, and it seems like it's gotten away from them in ways that are not really their fault. And I don't know if they can finish the job anymore. I think that they are kind of a dead team walking against a team that has a good offense. They're going to run into a good offense at some point, and it's GG. But that's not really got anything to do with the Seahawks. Steelers, Eagles. I guess we kind of wanted the Steelers to win, but I don't really put a lot of import on it. I don't think that's worth much of anything. So, I mean, we're not catching the Eagles. We know that, right? We're certainly not catching the Eagles, but I thought that there was a kind of sort of tenuous strength of schedule argument you could make that we wanted Pittsburgh to win, but again, we're getting very thin here, man, and that's the frustrating part about it. So many of these games, even the ones that kind of sort of went our way, it's just not enough. I don't mind the Cardinals winning because I want them to have something to play for when they play the Rams in a couple weeks. And it looks like they will have something to play for in that game. At the same time, that could come back and bite me if Arizona finds a way to win the division, which I don't think they will. Like, I just can't see it. I think that for the Cardinals to win the division, it would be a scenario where the Seahawks just completely fall to pieces. And if that happens, then I'm not even going to be that mad about it because it had nothing to do with Arizona and it had everything to do with the Seahawks, right? So if Arizona wants to run the table here and win the division, then, I'd kind of salute them and just say, hey, my team went to pieces in December, so I'm not even mad. Better them than the Rams, better them than the Niners. But they're still alive, I guess. Not that anybody should be surprised that they beat the Patriots. And yeah, this isn't helping either. I got to be honest. This was kind of an important one. Buccaneers Chargers. It was unlikely to really make a difference, right? Like we're talking about trying to open up a little bit of a backdoor to the wild card, and Washington had already kind of closed that by winning in the early window. But Tampa Bay banking these wins against this is a home game for the Chargers and they get blown out. Like, I mean, it's not making things easier. Again, it doesn't really matter anymore. At this point, I guess we're best served just hoping Tampa wins the division and Atlanta goes away. But again, at this point, it's super unlikely to matter because Washington has too many wins. So at the end of the day, if we end up as the 4 seed instead of the 3 seed, and it's because Tampa Bay won the division instead of Atlanta, that's a minor complaint, right? I will happily take the 4 seed. So I'm not going to say it's a big thing, but it would have been a nice little something to take forward. And we didn't even get that. Bears Vikings, I don't think there's anything to say there. I will say that the Vikings are working on a pretty nice winning streak here. So I think that's better than them coming off a loss to the Bears when they play us, right? I'd rather have a Vikings team that is humming and on a win streak than a team that just got beat by the Bears. So I think the Vikings winning is probably good. And Atlanta winning, again, mixed thoughts there. Having the tiebreaker in our back pocket over Atlanta is big. It's just so unlikely to really matter. And again, if it matters, it's probably because Atlanta won the division. And guess what? If the Seahawks win the division, 3 seed, 4 seed, I'm gonna live with it. Believe me. But the odds of Atlanta getting in the wild card race in a meaningful way when they already have 7 losses, pretty darn low. And I mean, they needed to gut out this game. This game came down to a Hail Mary attempt by the Raiders. So that Atlanta team seems like they're just toast. So I don't even think it's going to matter. So that one's whatever too, but you can see not a lot went our way. I think that the Broncos winning was good. The Cardinals winning, I think, in its own way is going to be good, even if it could backfire. And in terms of like stuff that is meaningful, that's it. Like I could maybe pick nits about how, oh, it's actually good that the Vikings won because we play them next week, but that's very, very subjective, and I'm not going to sit here and act like that's super impactful. All right. It's not a good week, man. It's not a good week. I did want to go through that step by step, but man, I could have just made a 3-second video saying this week was crappy, and I could have called it there, and would have captured basically the same thing. All right. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. And gonna need more than this. Or we're just gonna need to win all our games.